Buenos dias, buenas tardes. Time for another helping of the weekends here, brackets almost, with Graham. We go from theme of the week to Graham's team of the week, with at least one question on every single game from this weekend's matches. Theme of the week, Graham, one of your sort of catchphrases, really. If I don't see you through the week, I'll see you through the transfer window. When you look at all the clubs in La Liga, which ones do you think, if the director of football doesn't have the best 3 days of his career in the next 4 or 5 days, then they're going to be miles from their aim this season?
Girona and Sevilla, the obvious one. Hello, David. Hello, Darren. Girona and Seville, because Girona have been, over the last two markets, brutally asset stripped. I don't understand where the grand strategy is going, because what we know in Kike Garcelle is they've got a really well-informed, well-connected, smart DOF, but there seems to be a disconnect between what the squad is, what the coach wants, and that you saw the film that we made with Girona that isn't out yet last season, and the way in which the credits for the third episode actually show Kike Garcelle and Michel sitting through like, well, he's staying, he has to stay. I'll feel betrayed if he goes. And all of those go 180 degrees in the wrong direction. They had a 20 million net spend last season for a club that lost so many assets. That was going to be impossible. They flirted with the relegation last season. It sounds horrible given the resources and the previous thumbprint that they left on La Liga, both in the season prior to finishing in the Champions League positions and that season. It seems horrendous to be talking about potentially being in so much trouble right now. But you asked about the transfer window and the need to do good business. Well, from what Mitchell said after the 5-0 thrashing at Villarreal, even to do good business, there needs to be far more communication and agreement between the owners, the director of football, and the coach. Otherwise, there's real problems. I think it's unfortunate for Sevilla, because I think that I've spoken this week to an agent who's trying to take a Premier League player there. It's a Premier League player that I like watching. He would have a lot to prove. It wouldn't be one of those where he goes, oh my goodness, that's a great season guaranteed. Good footballer, elegant footballer, covering one of the obvious places where they have a problem. And that agent said that his player was granted a joint telematic. What does telematic mean? Online meeting with Cordon, the director of football, and the president, which is young Del Nido. And the manager, Almeida, had his voice, represented in the meeting. It felt coordinated. They were ambitious in who they were trying to get. And I think their big problem is that they are being asset stripped. They have brutal injury problems. They were under par for quality last season. But I'm slightly more optimistic about them, particularly if they can get with their heads above water to the January market. But right now, the two key ones, and it's easy to mention Cordon as the director of football who needs to be busy in the market, haggling, trading, meeting FFP, fine. There's a bigger problem at Girona. So without talking about all the little snaggings, when you build a house or buy a house, the phrase is, there's still snagging to do. Well, lots of clubs have got snagging to do, but you said who's up to their neck in shit, and it's Girona and Seville, isn't it?
I think you're right. It's going to be busy, isn't it? It's now